Every time I look at or read an article about the one big beautiful bill, I am shocked, though that sounds pejorative, maybe impressed would be a better word, at its breadth. It's such an expansive piece of legislation. On the airplane flying back from our last break, I sat down with some of my notes and just made a quick list off the top of my head of some of the things that we did in the one big beautiful bill. And I hate to read to people, but I'll just read you from my notes, and I won't even read all of them. But this is what we did in the one big beautiful bill. We extended the 2017 tax cuts. We saved $1.3 trillion for the American people. We made them permanent. We cut taxes on tips. We cut taxes on overtime. We cut taxes on Social Security. We provided deductions for car loans. We increased the standard deduction. We continued the 20% income deduction for LLCs. We repealed the IRS reporting requirements for gig workers. Nobody ever talks about that. That was huge. We passed school choice tax credits. First time Congress has ever done something like that. We enhanced 529 education savings accounts. We provided full expensing for research and development. I mean, I could keep going here. We reformed Medicaid. We ended federal payments for abortion and gender surgery and sex change operations through Medicaid. I could go on for 20 more minutes. It's just an extraordinary piece of legislation. My only regret with respect to the bill is that we did it without Democratic votes. We did it with all Republican votes. I wish that hadn't been the case. I wish we had been able to convince some of our Democratic colleagues to join with us. Well, the obvious question when I make that statement is, how'd you do that? How'd you get past the filibuster? Take 60 votes. You don't have to be an astrophysicist to know that about the United States Senate. Well, as you know, Madam President, we did it through reconciliation. Under reconciliation, only a majority vote is required. 60 votes aren't required. You can do it with a majority vote. That's how we passed the one big beautiful bill. That's how President Biden passed much of his legislation. Reconciliation, as we know, is a creature of the Budget Control Act. I think of reconciliation as sort of a mini budget. Now that's a gross exaggeration and oversimplification, but I think of it as a mini budget. Could we ask for order, Madam President?
I ask the senators to please take the conversations off the chamber floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I think of reconciliation as sort of a mini budget. Now, that's an oversimplification and exaggeration, but and we can't do everything in reconciliation, but we can do a lot. We can do a lot. We passed the reconciliation bill on July 1, about 5 months ago. And something that even members of the media are not aware of is we have the authority before the midterm elections to do 2 more reconciliation bills. The first one that we did, we can do 2 more, the first of 3 potential reconciliation bills, we passed 5 months ago. You know, you can do a lot in 5 months. 5 months around here is a long time ago. In 5 months, you can learn a language. You have to work at it every day. In 5 months, you can learn how to play a musical instrument. In 5 months, you can write a book. In 5 months, you can start a small business. In 5 months, during World War II, the U.S. defeated the Japanese in the Guadalcanal invasion. And in 5 months, the Duke of Wellington defeated Napoleon after he escaped from Elba. In 5 months, a baby goes from gurgling and crying to saying mama and dada. 5 months is a long time. How have we used that 5 months? Now, I'm not putting anybody down. I want to say that. I'm not criticizing any of my colleagues. I love my colleagues. I don't hate anybody. I love every one of my colleagues. And I'm labor. I'm not management. But one of the reasons I came to the floor, Madam President, is to suggest to all of my colleagues, both my Democratic friends and my Republican friends, that time is wasting. The president has been pounding us. He's been criticizing us like we stole Christmas, like we stole Thanksgiving, for not getting rid of the filibuster. Why does he want to get rid of the filibuster? Because he thinks we can pass a bill with 51 votes. We can already pass a bill with 51 votes. We just did it with the one big beautiful bill. And we can do 2 more. So why have we sat around for 5 months and not started on the second reconciliation bill? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, in my opinion, and really, I'm just making an observation. To me, it's a 12-piece bucket of stupid not to do another reconciliation bill and to waste 5 months before we even start on a second reconciliation bill, assuming that we get started tomorrow. I mean, humans are supposed to have evolved as a species. Why would we not do a second reconciliation bill? Think of what we could do. I mean, moms and dads all across America tonight are going to lie down to sleep, and they won't be able to. What are they worried about? Well, they're worried about the cost of housing, for one thing. They're worried about the cost of home insurance. They're worried about the cost of flood insurance. They're worried about the cost of health insurance. We all know that. They're worried about the cost of living. Now, I think President Trump's done a good job on inflation. At one point under President Biden, we experienced 9% inflation. We got it down to 3%. And I think that's extraordinary. But the American people don't understand, nor can they be expected to understand because they're too busy earning and living. They don't know the difference between deflation and disinflation. What we've experienced is disinflation. When we went from 9% to 3%, all that meant was that prices were going up at 9%. Now they're only going up at 3%. They're still going up. What the American people are interested in is deflation. Getting the high prices that we have as a result of the policies of President Biden's administration, getting those prices down, not stopping them from growing less quickly, getting them down. And the American people are worried about it. And again, I applaud President Trump and his economic team for doing as well as they have. But we've got more work to do. In reconciliation, assuming it could survive the parameters of the Budget Control Act, we could address rules and regulations. We spend almost $2 trillion a year. The business community spends almost $2 trillion a year complying with federal rules and regulations. They pass that cost on. Why do you think goods and services cost more today? In large part, in substantial part, it's a result of rules and regulations. Through a reconciliation bill, we could pass measures to get the cost of those goods and services down and actually reduce those prices by getting a little government off the backs of business people. We could do all those things through reconciliation. And so the first reason I came to the floor tonight is to say to my colleagues, pretty please, with sugar on top. I'll even add a cherry. I'll even throw in a coupon for a personal pan pizza. Please, let's do another reconciliation bill. And when I say we, I'm saying the Republican majority. Let's invite our Democratic colleagues to join with us. And I hope after inviting them, I sincerely hope they'll take us up on it. But if they don't, and they don't have to, it's a free country, it only takes a majority to pass the reconciliation bill. And after we do the second one, we can do a third one before the midterms. If we do not take advantage of this opportunity to lower the cost of living for the American people through reconciliation, when we only need 51 votes to do it, it's legislative malpractice. It's legislative malpractice. It is dumb as a bowl of noodles. So that's my plea to my colleagues tonight. I'm not saying we've done nothing for 5 months. We've done a lot of other things for 5 months. But we haven't done anything to lower the cost of living for the American people. And we can't look back. We lost 5 months, but we should get started tomorrow.